Hey Glow Getters, welcome back to another episode of the Glow Collective. I'm your host, Dr.V, and today's episode is with my soul sister and quantum healing coach, Denali Veda. Now, a little bit about Denali here. Denali is an empowering quantum healing practitioner and a coach who has her own practice, Denali Mind, Body, Soul Quantum Healing. She is a spiritual warrior and has so much to teach us about empaths, quantum healing, spiritual awakening, and she uses touching stories that are all based on her own personal experiences. Now, this episode is surely magnetic as always, and Denali is such a strong soul who has so much love and enthusiasm in what she does. And I know so many of our listeners are interested in energy and healing work, and so I'm really excited to dive into really what are empaths and what spiritual awakening, what it really is, and how so many of us are starting to experience our own versions of spiritual awakening, and really how this impacts the collective on a global scale. So stay tuned, Glow Getters. This is going to be an incredible episode. So get ready and unleash that glow. All right, guys, welcome back to another episode of the Glow Collective. I'm your host, Dr. V, and please welcome Denali back on the show with us.
Hello, thank you. Nice to be with you again, of course.
Yes. Today we have some awesome topics that we're going to dive into. We're going to talk about what exactly a light worker is, talk about ascension, the new earth, and the magic of kitty cats, and so much more.
Yes, can't wait. Well, I'm luckily meeting this beautiful kitty here that Vendeha has that I think you need to tell the story, because right away when she told me about this, I'm like, this is a miracle cat and it was meant for you.
Yeah.
And whenever cats are brought to us, that's literally, they're picking you. This was like destiny to be your cat. You have to accept it. And this is a huge blessing from the universe.
Yeah.
And they'll reincarnate just like dogs. Like people know that Dog's Purpose movie. Cats reincarnate too. Like one of my cats now was my cat when I was a little girl that I loved more than anything. And she was like my best friend. Now he's a boy. Mm-hmm. Looks the same, but he's a boy. Same colors and everything. But so tell us how you got, Leo, right? Or
Leah.
Okay.
We thought it was a boy, so we named her Leo, but realized she's a girl. So it's Leah, but really she goes by Kit Kat or Kitty Kiss. So yeah, it was right around the Lionsgate portal with the Leo full moon that weekend. It was a Thursday, I remember. Hunter had come up from Cincinnati and he lives 3 hours away. So he drove up, and so that night we heard like a noise and it was like, so I was like, oh my gosh. Is that a cat? And he's like, no. And we listened and it was like, and it was outside. And I was like, that sounds like a cat. And he was like, that's a bird. And I was like, are you sure that's a bird? He's like, yeah, that's a bird. So, we kept hearing, we're like, and I was like, that's a really odd bird. But it kept going like on beat, like, so like finally he was like, no, that's a bird. I was like, all right. So we left it. And then the next morning woke up and I heard, the same noise. And I was like, that's no bird. And then I ran outside and I sat by, kind of wanted to pinpoint where that noise was coming from. And so it was by his truck. And so I just sat. I usually go outside and meditate every morning. Went outside, sat by his truck, and then...
Oh, that's the cat. He wants to add to the story. He's in here she's in here tearing the place up.
Yeah, so then I sat there and just meditated and was just, just connecting, and was just like, God, whatever this creature is, let him or her know that this is a safe space, that I'm not here to hurt him, that whatever this soul is, let this beautiful soul feel safe enough to come out. And I just sat there in meditation, and then slowly just cajoled the kitty, holding up, just trying to find where she was. And then luckily she just chose to come out. So just 15, 20 minutes later. So yeah, very beautiful. Yeah. So, and, ever since, she was very small, she was only a couple pounds and a couple months old. And I'm not a cat person, never had been, definitely a dog person. And she just came in and stole our hearts.
Of course. And just to describe this cat, it's this beautiful, like, gray and with green, glowing golden eyes. And I'm definitely a cat person. I have 3. And I was just telling Vindeha that every one of my clients, I have recommended they get a cat or a kitty, like, because I'm promoting them. They have such a stigma about cats, like going back with witchcraft, and cats are bad luck, and cats aren't loving or cuddling. There's all these, like, prejudiced people against cats, honestly. And my husband even, he didn't want cats when we first got together. And that was, like, breaking my heart. And I think I lasted a year, and I'm like, nope, I got to get, and God was bringing me cats that were meant for me. But now he loves them to death, and, would never, they're like our fur babies. But,
likewise. I mean, I would have said, I would have never gone out and picked up a cat ever. I have cat allergies. And so it was really a test in many ways. Well, I knew she's a miracle kitty because she survived over 24 hours underneath a truck driving through the interstate, and however, still survived it all. And the fact that she came down at such a really beautiful, energetic time in the world.
Mm-hmm. The Lion's Gate.
Yeah. And I think it was beautiful in that way. And even after to come where I had to teach myself to say, okay, you're not sensitive like to cat dander. You can tell your immune system that you don't have to react. You don't have to respond. And do like WIM breathing or meditation. And honestly, like, that's what I did, and now I don't have allergies to her.
Well, that's amazing. You manifested that, and I totally believe that.
Well, I was like, God, if you brought this cat into my life, knowing that, like, I'm sensitive, well, why? And if this is, if she's meant to be in my life or meant to be connected, then I can't be sensitive to her. I can't be puffy and broken out and, sneezing all over. So help take, right? Help desensitize me. Help my immune system to calm down if this is meant to be.
Oh, yes.
And he did.
That's perfect. Well, the thing about cats that makes them so amazing is they are like little gurus. People think they're sleeping. They're really meditating. They easily can go in and out of, the realms. And this is why they were, so respected and honored in Egypt, because they knew their great spiritual power. And they actually protect your home and their family from evil spirits. So a dog can protect you from a home invader. But there's the spirit realm that's out there that, so many people are unaware of. And we have these cats are our guardians in the spirit realm. So they're amazing, for that reason as well. And it's funny when they purr, scientists cannot figure out.
I love the purrs.
Where the purr comes from,
but it's happening. Like from the throat, like heart center, like where their kind of throat, heart chakra areas.
Oh, definitely. And guess what? When they're purring on you, they're healing you. They're literally absorbing the owners. When you pet them and they purr, they're absorbing our negative energy.
Wow.
So that purr is like transmuting, and it feels like a vibration. So it's raising your vibration. And almost instantly my cat purrs on me. I'm like, oh, it's like the best feeling.
Yeah. And I feel like it's like an om.
Yes, it is.
Which is really rejuvenating and balancing. And cats are sensitive to energy. We have like a high frequency energy emitter. You'll find her sitting on that or on the biomat. And whenever I am meditating or in a really beautiful state, she doesn't want to come if you come pick her up, but she'll come to you when you're in that like state of oneness. Yeah. And that's very magical. It
is. And I just, one of my newer clients who he just got a kitten, and he was definitely like you, like, I don't want a cat. I never wanted a cat. And he was trying to meditate, and he said the cat came to him right at this time when he was having trouble meditating, and it started purring on him. And he's like, reminded him to om. He's like, oh my gosh, the cat was teaching me how to like meditate, and made it so much easier for him.
Yeah.
So they're like teachers. They're just amazing.
I believe that now. If you asked me a month or two ago, I'd be like, no, hell no.
And I love all animals. The insect world is something I'm still working on loving unconditionally.
I love
bit by a spider, and so it's very hard to find. I have respect for them.
Yeah,
but I don't want to hold them. I don't want.
I like bees.
Bees I like.
Yeah, but yeah, I wouldn't say spiders.
Well, definitely. I had a praying mantis when I was meditating outside, came and landed on my knee, and out of, I just hit it off instinctually before I saw it, and I was like, oh, I'm so sorry, praying mantis, because it's actually a blessing if they come to you. Yeah. It's a good omen, actually.
What about a kissing bug?
Oh, I don't know. I've never asked about those. We don't have them here, so I guess I don't.
No, we did.
We did?
I was doing sit-ups in my garage on this GHD machine, and I felt something on my neck, and I was just like, what is that? And I thought it was a spider, kicked it off. And it was just this massive
oh my gosh, yeah.
Thing.
I'll have to ask. I'll let you know what that's.
Luckily, do not bite me.
Yeah.
Well, because they can transfer diseases.
Yeah.
So vectors for parasites and different things.
Well, my husband will hold, whenever we find a praying mantis, he'll hold it and let it play on his hand. And I'm like, oh, no. I'm like, I like you guys, but I like my, I don't need to hold you.
That is very true.
Yes. So, but let's talk about the ascension. That's one of my favorite things to talk about ever, and so important that people understand what it is and what the lightworkers are here to do, to help the ascension, help manifest it, create it, put it into work. Yeah. It's already beginning. We're in the transition phase right now, where we're seeing the old world die away.
Yeah.
We're in the midst of whatever does not serve the highest good is going to be dismantled. So, from all the world prophecies, it doesn't matter if you're looking at Christian prophecies, these same things are repeated, and how evil is going to be exposed. And we're in the times of Revelations, and Revelations means the great revealing is what it translates to. So, and over, just biblically speaking, when we go to Revelations, it talks of, nothing done in the dark won't come to the light. It's about God's kingdom truly coming and divine justice coming. So we're really in exciting times. If you watch the news, you're going to be depressed, you're going to be afraid, you're not going to want to leave your house and wear a mask and all these things. The news is there to keep you stuck, keep you trapped, and keep you away from your power.
And in fear, stuck in fear.
Yes, and fear is a soul trap that I tell people over and over. And it says 365 times in the Bible, have no fear. And it is, so all of these people, whatever your religion or tradition is, if you're living in fear, you're not trusting your creator.
Yeah, I love that. Let's say that again.
Yeah, that you're not trusting your creator. So we're really sinning. We're really, not honoring God when we think, you think God designed such a flawed human being that we would just be wiped out so easily? That God created this beautiful planet for us just to all die or, all be sick? And not at all. So, and for one, we shouldn't fear death either. I mean, once you go through your spiritual awakening, you understand death. There's no such thing as death.
Yeah.
Really, the only real death is ego death, and which is really important.
And I do want to speak more about that.
Oh, yes.
Talk about what is ego death and
It is, a dark night of the soul is equivalent to what I'm saying, ego death. And the ego is like the lower self aspect of our spiritual self, of our soul. We have a higher self and a lower self, or called the ego. But the ego is one of our tests to overcome. The ego is always this voice in our head that is telling us we're not good enough, or putting negative thoughts or putting pressure on us. And where the higher self, whenever it speaks, it's of goodness, it's of wholeness, it's of healing, it's of truth. And so you have to determine which one of these voices that we hear in our head, which one should I listen to? Which one's going to take me to the right path? And so when people start to figure this out, which voice is the ego, which is the higher self, it really is a game changer. And by ego death is whenever we go through traumatic things, like you're going through a divorce, you were fired from your job, you lost, someone really close to you died, you're grieving, just traumatic things that are life-changing are akin to dark night of the soul. And me personally, I've been through several, and starting at a young age. So God trained me from a young age to be ready to fight spiritual battles, basically. I've been fighting demons my whole life with generational curses that I broke, with demons my parents had that I had to, break the chains of their addictions. But so the world collectively is going on huge ego death all over the world. People that are attached to their job then lose their job. People that are attached to, the way the world,
people, things, material things, and unable to go with change, right?
Yes, for sure. So the way some people stay in ego death for years and years and years. I had a client that she's like, I've been going through ego death, or dark night of the soul for like 5 years. And, I was so glad to help her finally get out of that hole and that darkness and find herself and her passion and purpose again. And that is really part of what lightworkers are here to do, is we are here to bring the hope. We are here to remind people to be yourself, not to fall in line, not to be a number, not to be a robot, not to be just an order follower, to be a sovereign being. And our sovereign rights are in jeopardy right now.
In many ways.
Yes.
In many ways we're being dictated or controlled freedom, our rights, right?
Yes, we're being forced to take what is called medicine, which I would not call medicine, that they claim is a cure, what I would call a curse. And what I've been told directly by the angels is a curse. So there's spiritual warfare going on, and so many people, I would say, are walking around blind. And this is also spoken of in the spiritual world, where Jesus would talk about even people being asleep or awake.
Well, see, we live in this life of illusion, right? Like this Maya, and it's hard to see through it. It takes going through ego death or ego shedding, an awakening of multiple ways, and even a remembering. Because I think part of it is, I was going through mine. All I wanted to do was, like, you would go into these states and remember, but then you come back into real world and you forget. And so I was like, God, all I want to do is remember and never forget. Show me to remember. Teach me to remember. And once you remember, right? Remember our true nature, why we're here, what we're doing, then you realize the illusion of it.
Yes. And there's so many illusions that are being shattered, and just we're in the beginning of seeing, how deep the corruption is in our governments, how
we don't even know. We really don't even know because it's so controlled.
Yes, the media is so controlled. And everyone's censored. I've been put in Facebook jail, I don't know how many times, threatened to be deplatformed for speaking the truth and sharing the truth. Also, what lightworkers do, is we're here to speak truth.
Yeah.
And it's not popular.
It's not popular, and I think it's also challenging, I think, at least from where, or maybe it's challenging because of just my perception, but just also being in the medical field, there's other governing agencies that you have to answer to that can take away your power or license or different things. So I find there has to be an incredible amount of, you have to say things in a very, I can't speak as bluntly as I would like. And maybe that is for fear. But I also believe that starting to speak out about things or just share your truths, that if you're doing it in the right way or if God's supporting you, then there is nothing to fear.
Yes.
Right?
Exactly. And I think we've just been so manipulated to where they have people I'm anti-mask, you're a mask wearer, or you're anti-vaccine, and why do we have to be anti?
Yes, just division.
Yes.
Yeah.
And we need to understand, I don't hate anyone that wants to take the vaccine. I don't hate anyone that wants to wear masks. I respect their choice. Is that truly their choice, or are they wearing it because they've been bullied into wearing it too?
Or they may believe that they are truly protecting themselves. And at the end of the day, yes, honor each person's truth, but you don't have to judge.
Yes.
Right? We can still come back to love and honor where each person's at, but you don't have to tear someone down for agreeing or disagreeing with you.
Exactly. People have been so manipulated, emotionally gaslighted by Big Brother and propaganda. And when people are in fear, they're more easily controlled.
Absolutely.
And this is an old trick. And it's what the dark likes to do is distract us. So that's why there's so many distractions. And God and the angels talk to me about this all the time. People are so distracted. You know,
From what?
Our phones, our, you know, whatever. I'm on TikTok now. I'm getting it like up. I'm in a little TikTok trap on there a little bit. Like the other day, I'm like, where'd the day go? I've been on TikTok this whole time. Oh my gosh. There is, you know, just there's negative distractions. There's good distractions too. I mean, sometimes people are obsessed with work, you know, and then that becomes their lives and they live their whole life just working to retire and then they wasted, you know, where's their life went.
Yeah.
But whatever it is, all kinds of addictions out there that are soul traps, pornography, social media.
Yeah, just gossip, negativity.
Yeah. But distraction, we can't find ourselves if we're constantly distracted.
Right.
And we can't find answers if we're constantly distracted.
All right, guys, I want to take a quick minute to give a shout out to our sponsor, Prolinium. So Prolinium is the maker of two of my absolute favorite fillers, Rejuvenation Versa and Rejuvenation Lips. Now, these two fillers are incredible because they have the highest concentration of hyaluronic acid, which is the magical little molecule that is naturally produced in your body and helps keeps your tissues hydrated and healthy. Now, both of these fillers are loaded with this molecule, and the high concentration means that Rejuvenation produces long-lasting, beautiful results that will always look completely natural while keeping your skin and lips healthy and hydrated. Now, Rejuvenation Versa is one of the newer FDA-approved HA injectables used to treat mild to severe facial wrinkles and folds, such as those smile lines around the mouth. It's one of the best ways to take years off your appearance and help you smile with total confidence. It is hands down my favorite and go-to HA filler. If you've been thinking about improving those smile lines and refreshing your look, then you've got to try Versa. Use promo code LIPS to receive 10% off your first treatment with me or find a local Rejuvenation provider near you.
So I think the blessings in disguise of the past 2 years is so many people got to go home, didn't have to work. We were all grounded. We all got, put on house arrest or grounded by God for a little while. And it made me appreciate so much more of my life. I did so much introspective work in that time. And I think a lot of, that's what the light workers we were meant to do. And how many light workers I saw just wake up in that time was so amazing to me. People that didn't know anything about, the deep state and cabal and all these agendas, but they're just waking up. It's just starting. And so I'd like to be there as an awakening coach, be there for people and understand and navigate, because it's overwhelming for someone when you just find all these illusions or learn everything we're taught is a lie.
Yeah, it's hard. Your psyche can get it deconstructs it, and you have to have a supportive way, someone or a guide, or take care in a supportive way to guide you through each passageway or level.
Yes. And I have levels that I'll rate clients when I start with them, and it's not out of and I have one that I rate myself, but it's a lifelong process, awakening. So anybody that's saying they're woke or they're totally awake right now, they're full of it. It is a lifelong process. It's taken me years and years and years to get to this level of awakening to where we want to be a master eventually, and we want to fully go and be transcended into the fifth dimension, which is New Earth.
So let's talk about that.
Okay, yes. New Earth, I know sounds probably strange, to people that aren't familiar, but it's in the Bible, it's called New Jerusalem. So since I've been communicating with angels and my guides, they started calling it New Earth. And I'm like, what are they talking about? And they related it to that. So I'm like, okay, I understand. And New Earth is the Garden of Eden 2.0 is also how it's been described by the angels to me, that God had always wanted us to be in paradise. God created, the first Garden of Eden because he loved us so much, and he loved this earth and loved all of creation. And the story that we're told, or mainstream stories about what happened in the Garden of Eden, is not true. People need to do their research there. It wasn't a woman that caused the fall of humanity. The woman has been demonized by Abrahamic religions to keep the divine feminine down. But New Earth is going to be a world of peace, a place where children can play and be free, and we don't have to fear for them. No sickness. There is finally true justice. So it's the world that the empaths and light workers always dreamed of. the world that you thought existed when you were a child before you lost your innocence and realize, wow, we're all screwed if we keep working in this system for a system that was designed to keep us and make us slaves.
Yeah, that's true. And I think, with my understanding, having, a Christian background from my mom, my dad being Hindu, I feel that, yes, there's a way that we can bring those energies of lightness and of love and of wholeness and unity first into ourselves, and from there work towards expanding that to the people we interact with, from our immediate family to then our friends, our coworkers, and then to strangers. And from that place, that heaven on earth will come through as we each shift energetically, but that change must start from within.
Yes. And a good thing that I like to remind people of is that we should not wait to go to heaven.
Yeah.
That we can experience, and I have experienced it already.
Experience it here.
I'm going in and out of the 5D continually, more and more so. And it's an amazing place. I go in my dreams a lot. I go to the fifth dimension. Speaking of that, the angels wanted me to share a dream with you all that I had 2 weeks ago. And I've had prophetic vision since I was a child, and I'm called to share. I'm sharing now, my visions, and have came out in this conservative town that we live in, and it's fine. People can either love me or hate me, or don't understand spiritual gifts, and that's okay.
And how have you been received?
I've had mostly positive of everything. I think just maybe a couple comments that weren't as nice, that were like, people that are Bible thumpers and that's all they know, and you can't say anything that goes against the Bible or you offend people. Yeah, so actually it's been pretty well, but to say I definitely have been attacked through the years for the things that I say. But like I said, I grew up in a battleground and I'm ready for it, and I'm ready to defend what I stand on. Yeah. And I stand on good ground and stable ground. But so in my dream, it was showing me my childhood home initially. And to me, what my childhood home represents is bad, is dark. I've had nightmares there. That house was haunted. It had a dark portal there. It was not a good place. And it was like blown up and on fire. And I was going in, I got my cats out. I got like my grandson's things. I was getting what was good. Anything that was good, saving that, and that was saved. And then I was seeing all these other negative things in buildings blowing up and on fire. But then I'm like, well, now I have no home. Where am I going to go? And it changed scenes, and I'm at my grandparents' house. My grandfather is there as an angel. He's crushed over many years ago. And he's there as an angel, and he's like giving me food, giving me like things for the baby, and showing me I have a place to live. And so the angels were confirming and showing that we will be protected and we will be provided for. So in breaking that down with the negative things being blown up, God is saying the light is winning, the dark is being destroyed, the evil is being destroyed. So it seems scary right now because it's all of a sudden things are changing again.
Rapidly.
So this was a reminder and a status update from the angels to tell people still stay strong, keep your faith, and know if you're afraid you're going to lose your job, you're afraid you're not going to be able to feed your kids, know God has a plan for us, and that will not happen.
Yeah.
But, it is so many people, again, falling back into that fear.
Well, it's challenging when things happen all of a sudden, or we were initially told, this is going to happen, or the vaccines will come down, then you don't need masks, and then the Delta variant comes out, and that's hitting again, and then you're told, oh, you'll need boosters, and then it's okay, well, what are we going to be told next, that we're just going to follow like minions in line, and like a sheep running off the cliff? Like, how I don't want to run off the cliff. Exactly. I want to pause and be able to assess what is going on around me and understand it, and then also understand, well, what is my role here, and how can I step into that role and act from that place of my higher self.
Yes, and lightworkers really need to step up now, is also what the angels want people to know, and be the leaders that we are meant to be. We came here to be new earth leaders, And so the more we use our voice and stand in our power and just, standing up for yourself and what's right. Albert Einstein has a really great quote that says, basically, I'm going to slaughter it because now I can't remember it, but that evil happens in this world because good people sit back and watch and let it happen.
Yeah.
Because people are so apathetic that,
Or we think it doesn't concern me.
Yes.
And I'll raise my hand to that, at least initially when I was processing everything, I was like, well, I'm just going to stay in my bubble and sort through my things. But that's not the higher calling. That's still operating from ego. And it is the next level is to, take a stand, use your voice, act in the face of fear, but know that you're guided every step of the way. And it's just to lead others into that deeper awakening.
Yes.
And that's what we need.
Yes. And we will be rewarded. And God wants people to know, remember, you will be greatly, greatly rewarded for our good work that we do. And light workers, when people are like, what's a light worker? Oh my gosh. It's...
I don't know if I have the answer to that. So you tell us, because I don't use the word light worker very much. So let's...
Yes.
But what I feel is a light worker is probably right?
Well, it's probably similar. Yeah. Well, basically, the angels told me that's what I was. And Dolores Cannon would talk about it, and I've heard it. Before, and then the angels were like, you're I'm an advanced light worker, actually. I'm really cool. But you are too, though. You're an advanced one. But, so they told me if I would explain it, it's like we work for God, and it has no connotations. It's a new earth term that doesn't matter what race, what religion, what status you are. Those are all superficial, man-made divisions. We are all God's children at the end of the day, and God has no religion at the end of the day, and it doesn't matter if you call God Buddha or Jesus. God knows your heart, and these are just different cultural differences again. So God wants unity in the children, and to understand when I say, I'm not dividing myself, when I say light worker, it's a universal planetary term that means we're all brothers and sisters of the light when we choose to be that light.
Yeah.
And God calls each and every one of us, wants every one of us home, but not everyone hears the call.
Yeah.
Not everyone is ready, for that.
Yeah.
So,
and there's barriers holding a person back for given reasons.
Yes, of course. Or they're in, matrix traps and soul traps they're stuck in and don't know what to do.
But we're here to help each other through it.
Yes.
And that's why we, start connecting with different people, or synchronicities happen, right? And, or you see numbers or whatever it is. And I do believe that once you believe it and trust it, then you're not going to be spending your mental energy needing that confirmation. You can now use that mental energy into doing the good work.
Yes.
Right?
Beautiful. Yes. And, I love, 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 love what I do, and have never felt so fulfilled since I fully took on my light work, like giving it 1,000% of my mind, my body, and soul. And, I'm lucky that I'm living my dream, following my passion, and, self-employed. And I'm writing a book now that the angels pushed me into writing a book, because this is not I'm not one to spend all this time oh, that's overwhelming. They told me I got to write a book. And so, but the way they motivated me in a better way, because they're like, oh, you just do it when you feel like it. And there's no time. I'm not crunched, like certain authors are like, well, I have this, a certain amount of time. So luckily I don't have that pressure. And I only write when spirit's giving me a download. I'm like, okay, I gotta go write that.
Yeah.
And when I'm feeling it and in the zone. But this book is going to be, it's called the Lightworker Manifesto Ascension Guide. And the angels are helping me write it. It's channeled mainly by Archangel Gabriel, that's my higher self, who I channel. And I work with the archangels and love the archangels, and also got to bring them up because they are here to help humanity. And so many people are unaware of these great, great angelic beings, and they're light workers. They're, the elite light workers, and they've been watching over us, since the creation, since the beginning. And they
so
love
it's,
us.
yeah, and it's interesting because I would say, yes, I believe in like an ascended master.
Mm-hmm.
And so it wasn't, archangels weren't anything that was ever on my radar.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And, except for probably in the past few months where I'm like learning and opening up more to that.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah, and you could call them ascended masters most likely too. The terms could be easily changed, go back and forth. But the archangels have specific jobs that they do too. So I suggest people look into that. Like Archangel Michael, I'll call on him when there's evil spirits that need removed so that he can take them and remove them and put them where they need to go. And Archangel Raphael is the angel of healing. And so I'll call on him when we need to heal a wound where there was a cord attached or whatever their, ailments that they're having. We'll send, I'll call on Raphael and I'll send my personal light as well. So the angels are just amazing. And they started, I'm starting to see them in the 3D appear to me, which is really exciting. And Gabriel, people are familiar with, that's the angel that appeared before Mary that told him, you're going to have Jesus. Mm-hmm. So he's known as like a messenger angel, prophetic angel, and, part of why I have, prophetic visions coming from Gabriel. But so Gabriel and the angels are all helping write this book of things that they want humanity to know that will help us reach next levels. And it's kind of like the Cliff Notes of the spiritual world. So you can get up to speed. Like you've done years and years of research. I've done years of research, and we're super connected to spirit. So we have that wisdom as well to add.
And what I love is where it's in different ways, but mm-hmm. they're different, but they're the same.
Yes. And that's what's amazing about when I started studying Hinduism, Buddhism, Islam, or even, indigenous tribes, like the older religions, that we're all saying the same things. God went to every country, every nation, every people, every age. God sent prophets and teachers to teach. And shamanism, I want to touch on that. I'm teaching people that term, which is a very new, term for people to learn, is shamans were the priests and priestess to indigenous tribes. And they were like the doctor, the psychologist, and they would be a guide to the leaders of the community. They were highly, highly honored in society. And they are a bridge from the human world to the spirit world. So they were spiritual healers, holistic healers, the first. And if we want to go back to the true origins, what the angels told me, the true origin of religion was shamanism. And so that is really the true path and what I'm reintroducing in a modern way. Mm-hmm. And we're God is updating it. So, so it's more easily attainable and understood, and it's not anything to fear or call witchcraft.
Yeah. I'm not very familiar with shamanism, but for me, it's just a label. Call it what you want to call it. Label it how you want to label. We live in this world of duality and polarity, and we like to label good, bad, dark, light. But essentially, we are all one and the same. It's just the perception of which you're viewing it through, right?
Exactly. And, like I'll say, there's the people that have eyes to see and ears to hear, and they're going to understand what I'm saying, or maybe parts of it.
It'll reach the people it's meant to reach.
Yes. And maybe down the road, you'll resonate more with some of these things that I'm saying. That to me, it does not matter what church we attend. The true temple is within our own body, in our own heart. And that we can access God from within. And whenever we're separating ourselves from God, when we've had this perception that God is outside of us.
Yeah. And I think for me, the way I'm trying, at least an easy way for me to come back to it when I find that when I'm fragmented or feeling that separation is seeing God in each person, right?
Yes.
And it's, yes, and it can be challenging when we look different, right? When we have our physical garments on. But if you're looking energetically or feeling energetically or seeing energetically, then you recognize that light. Yes. And from there, to me, that's the truest test, that if we can see God in each person, from, yes, our pet, our loved one, our partner, to coworkers, strangers.
Trees,
yeah.
The sun,
and even extend that to, people that we view as enemies. That is like pure love. That is what God intends for us.
Yes. Yes.
And that's the challenge, to
Yes.
stay in that energetic state.
Yes, we have many challenges, but, we are set to take them on when, really the light workers need to know that they are loved, they are supported, they are unique, and are meant to stand out in this world.
Absolutely.
If you felt like you never fit in, it was on purpose.
Yeah.
And it's because we realize we're in a broken system and we aren't accepting it.
Yeah.
And if they tried to put you on depression drugs because you can't deal with the way the world is, that's normal. That's not abnormal.
So what can people do, like glow getters listening, that, we're all walking our own journey. Our journeys are parallel. They're very similar. I'm sure many people are going through their own types of spiritual awakening or starting to see pieces of that puzzle come through, seeing synchronicities. What can people, our glow getters listening who if they're like, well, maybe I'm a light worker, I'm not sure. What are resources or things that they can do to know that they're guided and supported, or connect with people for that support?
Yeah. Well, there are light worker groups on Facebook. I'm in a bunch of those. I have on my website, I go into detail more about light workers, Denali, Mind, Body, Soul. You can go there, or to my Facebook as well. And on my YouTube, I think I have a video that signs your light worker that you can find on there as well. And then do your own research, just look out. Dolores Cannon talks about them. Starseeds, light workers, indigo children, rainbow children. We're all the same. We're just different, we'll have different jobs, different roles, but we have the same main mission. Mm-hmm. And again, it's just different cultural names almost.
And just have your connection with spirit, God, right?
Yes.
And so what are steps that we can do if we need to strengthen that connection?
Mm-hmm. Meditating and prayer is number one. And that's how I start each day, is with a prayer. I start my day and I'm thankful that my eyes are open. I'm thankful for another day of breath, and then I will ask for protection and after I've gone into my gratitude. But being grateful is also a magnet for miracles, and how it opens our heart and opens us up and raises our vibration immensely. That, we need to appreciate that water we have, every time I take a hot bath, I'm so thankful because I remind myself how many people can't have a hot bath right now.
Hot bath, a warm bed, a home, so many things to be grateful for. And I always say gratitude is the ultimate state of receivership.
Yes, definitely. And manifesting, everyone's, that's a hot word and topic, is manifesting. And people got to understand it goes both ways, and people end up sabotaging their manifesting work.
Yeah, we don't understand it. Mm-hmm. So tell us more about that, because I think manifestation is something that, we all want it. We all have dreams. We all want to manifest things, and we don't understand the energy that's required. We don't understand the laws that govern manifestation. Mm-hmm. So can you tell us a little bit?
Well, manifesting is just one of the 12 laws of the universe. So the secret, I know when it came out, they didn't tell you that. They really didn't tell you the secret. But
that's all marketing, right?
Yes. And then the other secret, how we sabotage it, is we could start our day and we set our affirmations, and then the day goes on and we're at work and we're like, spilt coffee on herself, or, a coworker was rude to you, and then you just start getting in a funk, and then you start thinking, gosh, I have bad luck, or nobody likes me. And then you go to bed that night defeated, and you spent 5% of your day saying positive affirmations, and then had all this negative attitude and negative mindset and belief. The belief is what manifests it. Mm-hmm. So that,
So tell me,
they just sabotaged the negative. See, there's no balance. If they gotta way outdo the positive affirmations and the belief and the visualizing and working towards the goal. Mm-hmm. So it's setting an intention, working towards it, and always, all right, well, so majority of that day and night was spent on what they don't want, thinking about what they don't like, thinking about what they don't want to happen. So in essence, they're manifesting those negative things instead, more so than what the positive things that they really dream and want.
So, but they're doing the manifestations. They're staying positive. So how are they? Do you mean that it's in between that time, if they're focused, if they feel that it's not going to come true or don't believe it?
Yes.
Gotcha.
Again, if you don't fully, wholeheartedly believe, whatever you're trying to manifest, you don't believe you deserve it. You don't believe it's going to happen. You're hoping for it. Don't hope, believe.
Yeah. Trust.
Believe.
Yeah.
That is the power is in our belief. And that's how placebo works. That's really all healing is self-healing is a big, big secret. I just told you right now. That's in my book too. But so if you talk to Greg Braden or Joe Dispenza, if you know Joe Dispenza's story, he had like inoperable, broken back from a car accident, told would never walk again. And he studied like self-healing, visualization, quantum healing, and through the power of his mind, literally healed his spine.
Yeah.
And he's a world teacher, world leader, and light worker, teaching others that we all have that power if we believe in it. That it comes from God. It's a power that God gave us that the powers that be didn't want us to know we have.
Yeah.
They are afraid of us and our powers and afraid of this awakening.
That is true. And I feel that, a lot of ways that we'll overcome what is happening and what's to come is through that conscious awakening and connecting to that consciousness and recognizing our true power. But that true power cannot be rooted in ego. That's false. And I think, that's what I love about Dr. Joe is he felt that because God helped give him the tools to heal himself from this inoperable spinal injury, that he dedicated the rest of his life to his mission, which is to teach people these things and in his own way, which is incredible. And so, I encourage anyone listening to check out Joe Dispenza. He has an incredible story and mission, and he's just does amazing. He's really helped my journey along the way as well.
Oh yeah, he's helping so many and inspiring so many. And really, as a quantum healer, that's what I try to tell people. It's not that I am healing you. We are here as a guide to teach you, to empower you to believe enough in the healing. Yeah. In that I help unlock and awaken people's own power, which is so amazing and exciting to me, because this is not like when you go and get Reiki. Yeah. This is like Reiki times 10.
All right, you guys, and now for a little bit more from our sponsor, Prolinium. I'm even more excited with the launch of their newest filler, Rejuvenation lips. Did you know that lip rejuvenation is one of the most popular and requested minimally invasive procedure right now? You guys, as we age, our lips tend to look deflated and dry. For all of my glow getters curious about lip rejuvenation, we can create a subtle and naturally beautiful pout that will never look puffy or overdone. It's what I want to get in my own lips. And unlike other fillers, Rejuvenation lips is scientifically formulated to reduce swelling and produce long-lasting results. If you're curious to learn more, check out our Instagram page at DRVSKIN to see some of my amazing before and afters. Or you can find the local Rejuvenation provider near you using the link in the show notes. And use promo code LIPS to receive 10% off your first treatment with me.
How do we lose our belief? Where, in what way? Because I know we're like, okay, I believe. And then what happens?
The world happens. The distractions happen. The boyfriends happen that hurt our self-esteem and bring us down, or everyone has a different thing that will get them off their path, and the dark knows what is that thing. So they're going to keep sending it to you, and you got to keep, resisting that temptation and keep passing the test and
reminding yourself this is not real, or what is that truth? And the truth is not what sometimes is happening beyond, in front of us.
Exactly. I wanted to bring up aliens just for this, because there's a lot of people that believe aliens are real, and then there's the other side that don't believe they're real, and then there's a group of people that are flat earthers that think aliens are all demons. So this I really want to
So before you share, I'll share at least my thought process, because I haven't thought about it. So I guess I would say I haven't spent a lot of time thinking about it, because I think it's something that could be scary, right? To have another, could be scary. But I do believe that there are different planes of being and different, spiritual, like astral realms and different places, universes, and different life forms elsewhere. I do believe that. call it alien if we want to, because that elicits fear.
Yep.
But I would say I'm open that there are other life forms. And I'll leave it at that.
Okay. Well, I can tell you that I talk to these other life forms, and part of my work is what I do, and it's very interesting. And I'm working with the Agarthans currently, and I'm like an ambassador for the Agarthans.
And what are they?
They are what in some cultures called Shambhala, inside the inner earth. So Agartha is one of the names for their cities and kingdom inside the earth. So this goes into hollow earth theory, which is one of the oldest theories there is. Documented. And all these different cultures talk about these type of beings that came from inner earth as well.
So what is the hollow earth theory?
Hollow earth theory is that the world is full of like caverns. So there's giant caverns that you could go in the North Pole or the South Pole and find an entrance. It's guarded though, and you have to be allowed in, and you have to be very holy, and you have to be chosen to be allowed. Only ascended masters, they used to say, could go into Agartha, and it's a paradise. It's like a Garden of Eden that has stayed there permanently. So when we've had cataclysms in Earth's history, like when the dinosaurs were wiped out, that was one. Then we had the Ice Age. Then we had the Deluge, the Great Flood. These were times when humanity would have been fully wiped out, and the Agarthans were the ones that would save humanity, take us in inner earth during these cataclysms, teach us some of their spiritual teachings, how to cultivate. Every time humanity had an evolutionary jump, or like all of a sudden we're growing crops and things like that, it was the Agarthans that came and were teaching us these things. And going back to what aliens are, the better term for them is celestial beings.
So, okay, I agree with that. See, I would have just never, I would have never said that.
So that's a more enduring term and a more accurate term in what they told me.
It's just funny. I would not have said aliens is what I would have said as celestial being, right?
Yes, but so this is where it gets weird is you can compare what we say aliens and angels are. Or demons. So that's why there's all these people saying that
it's just labeling.
Yeah, well, they believe that all these aliens are demonic. And it says biblically that only a certain amount fell to the earth. So obviously that means there are still angelic beings in heaven. Michael is still there. Gabriel is still there. They did not go anywhere. And they've been here watching over us and protecting us this whole time. So this is a deep, deep, deep awakening knowledge here for people to understand. We are coming to an age where the aliens, the celestial beings, are going to be seen.
They're coming out.
Yes.
So that us humans can...
Okay, so this has been... Trump gave a timeline to the CIA and to, like, the groups that know about the aliens. You know, we've been working with certain groups of them for a long time and trading technology. But, so... the powers that be don't want this to come out for so long is because our governments have been working with the negative ETs or the negative celestial beings, which you could call them demonic. So
interesting.
What needs to be clarified is so many people that I've met are following these things on YouTube and Twitter that are telling them, Christians, be careful, all aliens are demons. So when the actual benevolent ones come, which they're going to come all together, then they're instead going to be afraid of someone that's coming on behalf of God and behalf of the light. So there's like Palladians work for the light, Arcturians, Lyrans, many different races that have been here assisting and watching over humanity. And they'll go in and out of Agartha. And so from what the angels have told me and the Agarthans told me, you know, right now the world isn't really ready. We can't get along with other humans.
Yeah.
You know, so we're part of making the way to understand that there's universal civilizations out there and if humanity learns to evolve, stop, fighting and killing each other over nothing, we're going to be able to, and the new earth people, we will get this. So we're going to have like, it's like Star Wars, really. We're gonna, like, and I'm like, that is so cool. Like,
So I never really watched Star Wars, so I'll have to watch.
yes. Well, so like if you in Star Wars, you'd go in a scene or a ship, and there's like all these different types of aliens. Everybody's hanging out at a bar. You know, everyone's mainly getting along, whatever. So, but just we'll be able to travel the stars. We'll be able to do amazing things in the future. With the technology we will finally have access to that will be gifted to us. And so that's, again, part of exciting and amazing things. And part of what's in Agartha as well are mythological creatures that they had to go into hiding or they would have been extinct. Like dragons were almost wiped out from humans that started hunting them, that turned against them. But so I've learned in my work too, a lot of things that we call myth are actually true.
So why is it that like we see all these movies and shows and like I just feel that there's
clues.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's part of disclosure. And it's part of light workers that work in Hollywood. So everybody thinks everyone's evil in Hollywood, and there's a lot of evil there. But God also has undercover agents everywhere, too, just like the dark does.
Yeah.
You know, God's just as smart. God is the wisest. So like,
it's just interesting because my viewpoint of like dark is I feel that there's innate goodness in every soul.
Yes.
I feel that. And so to me, I don't feel that there's dark or demonic like as a person. But what I feel is that there can be these tendencies that are dark or egoistic or demonic that can take over a person. But the soul itself or whatever it is, that is like pure. And so it's a matter of, well, if we can overcome or get rid or purify or cleanse, right? Recirculate those energies. You can transform something that is demonic to
the light. Yes. Yeah. And that's part of what light workers
or transcend
do.
it. Yeah.
Actually, I help when clients come to me and they have spirit attachments or a discarnate soul, which means a soul, it's a person that died. It's their soul, their spirit is a discarnate that did not cross over and is stuck here. So they have to survive because they're disconnected from source at that time and in darkness. And it's basically purgatory hell is where they get stuck, is where I describe this in the fourth dimension. But they attach to people and they start draining your energy. They start, controlling their thoughts, planning, trying to control in whatever way. If that ghost was an alcoholic, he's going to try to get that person to drink. This is a big plague in humanity because so many people are unaware that their boyfriend that's an alcoholic is really because he has an alcoholic ghost that's making him drink. And so you can send him to rehab, but the alcohol, that doesn't affect the ghost.
Yeah.
But so spiritual afflictions are, really because of there's, demonic entities, low level humans can become a demon. The longer they stay in that realm and possessing humans, the more dark they tend to go. So, and or like higher level demons will come in and like make them a slave and to do more and more evil things until there's like a hierarchy of demons when I'm working with the spirit where I find like, okay, this is a half level demon or a full level demon. So they'll take different amounts of work and light and energy to release them. But I actually had a fallen angel. This is an amazing story where this woman had a fallen angel in her, and I ended up, talking to that fallen angel and having conversations to where the other angels said, come back home. The other archangels were like, come home and you'll be forgiven. And so this fallen angel came back to the light and is an angel now again in heaven. And that was like, huge for me. Yeah. Like, that was like, that's such a miracle. And I really can't even tell people about it because they'll just like, that's crazy.
I believe miracles exist and every day. We just sometimes don't see them or recognize it.
Exactly, yes.
Or appreciate it.
Yes. Every day the sun rises, it's a miracle. Every breath we take is a miracle. But we're going to see more and more. I just posted a meme, if I can find it, that said, if people don't believe in psychic ghosts, aliens, angels, conspiracy theories, psychic abilities, you're in for a wild ride. Because it's coming up quick where people are going to have to get on board with these things, that it's time that we don't hide anymore.
Yeah.
That we aren't afraid to share our gifts that God gave us.
And now for a message from one of our sponsors. This podcast is sponsored by Alive and Vivid Skincare, featuring Bakuchiol Glow, their signature serum containing bakuchiol, a revolutionary plant-based retinol. It also contains cannabinoids, specifically CBD and CBG, as well as other botanicals to combat common signs of aging, including wrinkles, redness, and texture. This is also great for rosacea-prone or acne-prone skin, or those who cannot tolerate retinols and desire alternatives to their skincare. It is formulated with effective and cutting-edge ingredients for those who desire cleaner, medical-grade skincare. Visit drvskin.com/alivevividskincare to learn more and use the promo code BakuGlow to receive 10% off your first order. Visit the show links to find this information.
So how do you find that, for you living your mission?
How do I live my mission?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, like I said, I try to embody my highest self every day and leading by example. And this is what I also recommend for all my clients, that the way I really teach most of all is the way I lead and how I present myself, how I really am. I'm not putting on a front. There's a lot of, false spiritual or false Christian or, teachers that really aren't about the light or about money or about, power. And I want people to judge me for the fruits of my labor and know my hearts and intentions are, pure. So that is how I live every day, more in prayer and more in holy space and high vibration, because people live the opposite of how we're supposed to live. People will say, I'm going to pray 10 minutes today. And then every other part of the day, it's rushing around doing this, worrying. And instead, I shifted my mindset to where I'm constantly living a prayer.
Yes. And that's if we can live we're in prayer, take that energy through every interaction.
Yes.
Then you transcend it. You don't, and to me, that's ultimate transcendence, is when you no longer have to try, because that's where you're at.
Yes.
And that's the challenge.
Yes. I would say every step that you take going forward, put your foot on the earth and make that a sacred step.
Yeah.
Make it holy ground wherever you are.
And I think part of it is allow yourself to receive, instead of thinking we have to force and our way through things, that we are guided. And if we are conscientious and attuned, we can understand when we need to put forth energy and effort, but also and you can say divine intervention puts forth that, where you're supposed to be.
Yes.
And trust.
And thank God for divine intervention. Because they have saved my life. I would be dead without spirit, without the angels. Like I said, I've been through a lot of trials from a young age and been through hell. That's where I have brought myself out of that hell, faced my demons, and I'm here to show people it's possible, more than possible. Miracles are real. Miracles can happen. And, a beautiful future awaits us. Stop worrying about what could happen. Don't focus on all these negative things that are going on in the world. You're giving it power. The more people and if you come to somebody and that's all they talk about, someone comes to you and you're like, well, this is happening in the world and this is so sad. And then my boyfriend, and this is really depressing. And you just notice how they talk. Everything is just going down, down, down. And their perspective is not good. And we need to come and introduce them. Well, you still have this going for you, right? Well, you're still healthy and you have a job, and, count their blessings.
Yeah.
So churn whatever, whenever, and it's not that I'm saying ignore negative things. I'm just saying be aware. You can be aware, of course. Don't be ignorant, but don't focus and obsess about that.
Choose to shift your what you want, what you spend your mental energy on.
Yes. And I'm like, okay, I found my book in the title. It's Lightworker Manifesto, How to Embody Your Highest Self Ascension Guide, Awaken Your True Power and Purpose. And then I have a quote here. It says, yesterday I was clever, so I wanted to change the world. Today I am wise, so I am changing myself. Rumi.
Yeah.
And then here I'll read just my intro because I think it's beautiful. So, dear beloved soul family, my brothers and sisters, I welcome you to the awakening and to new beginnings. I offer you this manifesto channeled by Archangel Gabriel, my highest self, a collection of spiritual and foundational reference for you all to achieve greatness in all that you set out to do. Know that you are not insignificant and you are not weak. In fact, you are more powerful than you could even imagine. And I lost it. Hold on. Okay, there we go. And I am here to help spark that divine fire inside of you. This fire will burn away the old you, set you on your divine path, full of understanding and great purpose and power.
Love it. I love it. So yeah, I'll be excited for that to come out, and just for, I want to acknowledge you for living your truths and for putting yourself out there.
I accept.
Yeah, it's all too often we stay quiet or we dim ourselves down because we're afraid of judgment or what other people will say. And I think it's, I respect what you do and how you put yourself out there. So it's inspiring. So thank you.
Yes, that's what I want. I'm doing.
Yeah.
And yes. So, thank you for having me, Veda.
Yes.
I just love you. And I want to say you are a great leader. You inspire me. And I can't wait for you to get my skin and beautify me.
We'll work on some glow ups.
I need the skin doctor to give me some love. But yes, you, and this is why I connect so well with you. You are powerful. You are also just so unique and beautiful and smart and like a perfect example of what a divine feminine should be in all the right ways.
Thank you. Maybe not feel that way all the time, but I aspire for that. So I accept. Thank you.
But yeah, so if you guys want, I just started a TikTok. The angels wanted me to, so I'm coming out of my shell and trying to entertain you, but with spiritual truths at the same time. And that is, you can find me under awaken.denali.veda.144.
Awaken.denali.veda.144.
Yeah, you can put it on your links, so it's on there. But so you can check me out there, or my website, Denali Mind, Body, Soul. And, I'm not going anywhere, so you guys better get used to me. I'm just getting started. And I'm ready to, help heal the world.
Yeah, do our part to heal the world. So I love that. So for all of you listening, make sure to check out Denali's website. Stay tuned, follow her. And if you love this content, make sure to comment, like, and review us, and let us know what you would love to hear more about, because this is why we're here. This is why we're doing this. And it's all about connection and growth.
Yes, beautiful.
So until next time, unleash your glow.
Namaste.
All right, guys, if you enjoyed this episode of The Glow Collective, I humbly invite you to take a conscious moment to keep this vision glowing. I would love for you to subscribe, rate, and leave us an honest review. And if this podcast resonates with you, share it with 3 or 4 of your family friends. Tag me on Instagram at DRVSKIN and let me know which words and messages really hit home for you. Let's get the message growing. And why? Because I really want you to glow. Our time is now, and this podcast is only made possible because of you, because I am called to give back to you and share these ideas, thoughts, and messages with all of you, my intrigued glow-getting listeners. We are high vibrational beings here to grow and feel. We are meant to create and perceive deeper experiences of connection and to ultimately enhance the level of love and joy in our relationships of our life. So this is a wrap to today's episode. I'm your host, Dr.V. Stay tuned for the upcoming episode of The Glow Collective, and let's live, love, and glow.